Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ingrid and this is Ingrid Reads a Lot. In today's video, I wanted to do a mid-year check-in. I have noticed that this year I haven't read as much as I normally do, and I'm not sure why that is. Well, it's a multi-factor reason, but basically a lot of it is due to the fact that I work a lot. I work in the operating room. I don't know if you guys knew that, and I have to take a lot of call, and that takes up a lot of my time. I do get some time to read at work sometimes too, so it just depends on the day, I guess. But I have read so far this year 31 books, and that is not a lot for June. Like, honestly, I'm not sure what's going on, but I still have read some really good books, and I kind of wanted to just like compare and contrast how last year was compared to this year and how I'm doing with goals and things like that. And for me, in order for me to do that, I am going to bring you guys over to my spreadsheet. All right, so this is my spreadsheet. I can link it down below if you guys are curious, because I really do love this spreadsheet. I got it from, she used to be a booktuber, but I think now she just like mainly Twitch. I think I forget her name. I'll link it down below. It's on her Etsy shop, and it's only like $5. It's in my opinion, a really good spreadsheet. But here are all the books that I've read and DNF'd. But the screen I wanted to show you guys, oh my god, the screen that I wanted to show you my yearly stats. This says 34 books because it's counting the 3 books I DNF'd. So it's been 31. The difference that I've had this year as opposed to last year is that I have read a good number of horror books compared to the same as it was last year, but I feel like a lot of the horror books I'm reading this year are not as good as last year. Like last year, I felt like all of the books I read that were horror and the releases and stuff like were amazing, and this year they're just kind of like meh, I guess is the best word to describe that. But yes, I have read 9 horror books and 9 romantasy books. That's like my biggest like chunk of reading. But if I show you my actual books read, the books that got the highest rating are actually classics. And this is the first year of my life that I've ever read and enjoyed and understood classics. And the biggest part of that is because I started following these 2 women that have a channel they have a podcast. It's called Chris and Mads, and they have a book club that a lot of the books is like adaptations, and a lot of the books that we've been reading with their book club is classics. And they do like weekly breakdown of the books and stuff. And we read firstly this year, I think it was Wuthering Heights, and that's the book that basically sparked my interest for classics, because I read Wuthering Heights and then I read Pride and Prejudice on my own like right away. And as you can see, like those are the books that have been getting a higher rating from me. But yeah, classics, I kept saying that last year was my year of horror, but this year I think is going to be my year of classics because I'm intending to read more. What else? I also love the spreadsheet because it shows you, let me see where it is. You can see if you put all the books, like the covers that you've read, it has a cover gallery, and it literally shows all the books that you've read by cover and star rating, which I just love this page. I think it looks so cute. But yes, it is amazing. And I'm super excited because I just think by the end of the year, this will be a good chunk of books. And I should say that even though I feel like I haven't read a ton this year, like I think I'm still within my goal because I think I only set 60 books. So if I keep reading at the pace that I'm reading, I will reach that goal. I just felt like I was going to surpass that, and I so far it doesn't seem like it. And over here, as you can see, I have some yearly goals that I just wrote down for myself. And let me tell you, I'm doing horrible because I put as a goal as like the restart the channel, which is true. I've done that, but I also fell off the wagon. DNF more books, and I wrote in parentheses for real because what was happening a lot is that I would DNF a book, but in my brain, I'm like, oh, that's not 100% DNF'd. Like I'll come back to it. And there's been 3 books this year that I actually have DNF'd, and I don't plan on actually going back to them. So 3 books. I think I'm doing good. And then stick to a reading journal. I did this at the beginning of the year and I've already fallen off the wagon, although I do have a lot of fun doing it. So I think I might go back to it. We'll see. This one I definitely fail. At least 1 video per week all year. That did not happen. And then read, own TBR at least 1 per month. And I think I'm doing okay with this goal. I think my own books right now are 99 books that I haven't read that are on my TBR, which is still a lot. Like, in my opinion, I know that other people have like a ton more books that are in their TBR, but like, honestly, that gives me like hives. The fact that there's so many books that I haven't read that I own. And one of the goals that I did not write down was to buy less books this year, which I have been doing. Like, I think I've barely, the thing that I've gotten most consistently is my aardvark box, and I read pretty much all the books that I get in the box. So I've been doing okay with that. And I've only been trying to buy books that I either have read or I plan to read like right away. So I haven't really added to my TBR, but I also haven't done a big dent on it. So I guess it's like a halfway goal that I've accomplished. Over here, I put 7 books to read per month. I obviously am not reaching that. I mean, there's a couple months where I surpassed that, but every other month I've been below. This video is so depressing. It's like, let's look at the fact that I haven't been catching up with my goals. Okay, moving on from that. I'll talk to you guys about some of the books that I've read that I absolutely adored. And I've already mentioned a couple. Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte, masterpiece. There's a reason why it's a classic. It's this gothic, like dark novel. Everybody sucks. And I really enjoyed it. It's about like class and race and social standing and cycles of trauma and repeating cycles of trauma, and how does one break away from like familial trauma. I absolutely adored it. I did not love so here's my thing. Let's go off on a side tangent. I liked the adaptation for the movie, right? Like, I think that if they weren't adapting this classic and calling it Wuthering Heights, I think it was like a, steamy, beautifully done, like visually type movie. But because they are calling it Wuthering Heights, it was way more about the romance, which if you've read the book, and I'm not going to spoil anything, but if you've read the book, that's not really what the book is about. And so it's almost like the movie adapted like the first half of the book. And I thought it was okay. I didn't hate it as like a lot of people like seem to absolutely hate it. I thought there were some beautiful, like visually beautiful moments in the book. I think they did a good job with that. Even though some of it I also saw, it's not like historically accurate in terms of like dress and stuff, but it was visually beautiful. But as a Wuthering Heights adaptation, I don't think it stayed close to the source material. Do I think that has a place in the world? I feel like it might, because if someone really liked the movie and then they're like curious about the book and then they go on to read the book, I think that's always a good thing. I do think that the movie caused the book to be picked up a lot more. So I'm not mad about that. I just think, people that were expecting a true adaptation of this book were sorely disappointed. And then I read the next one that I gave a 5 stars to was Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. This was amazing, like amazing. And I think that I like Pride and Prejudice more because it's more fun and upbeat, even though it does talk about those like social problems at the time that this was written, like women's rights and social classes and things like that. Yeah, and I do like that Jane wrote very like cheeky. Her writing style is very cheeky and underhanded, like making fun of these aristocratic people, but in a way that was like digestible for everyone to read, and also criticizing the way that things were. I really loved it. I think it's like, I know it is like one of her most popular works, and I can see why, but yeah, I really loved it. I don't like, what I have been noticing is that a lot of these like classic books that I have been reading they do have a bit of a romance in them, but the romance is not the focus of the book. I found that I don't always love the main character, the male main character, I should say. In Wuthering Heights, I didn't like anyone. In Pride and Prejudice, I liked Elizabeth and I liked her sister, but I did not like Mr. Darcy. I think that I can understand him as a character. He's just more closed off, more quiet, and he expected her to just accept his marriage proposal because he's rich, and he's like, how like, why, why wouldn't you? And she's like, you have given me nothing. You've given me less than nothing, So I kind of adored that. And then what else? I'm not going to go through every book that I gave like a 4.5 to 5 stars. I'm just highlighting some of my favorites. Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid was a masterpiece. I love astronomy and astrophysics and all of that stuff. So I really appreciated learning from this book about the NASA program and how it was to be one of the first women up in space. And I love the found family type aspect, which makes sense, right? It's like when you're working so closely with people, they turn into your family. And not that it's anywhere near that, but I do feel a little bit of like kinship with that feeling from working in the operating room, because you are working with these people closely, like 10 hours a day inside an operating room where it's just you and them. And, I think I can appreciate the found family aspect of this book. The love story in this is beautiful, and yeah, I absolutely love this book, and I think everyone should read it. And then I will talk about one more book that I absolutely adored, and that was The Correspondent by, what's her name? Virginia Evans. This is a literary fiction, and it's written in epistolary format, and our main character likes to write letters to everyone that she encounters, and she writes letters to famous people and people she meets, and she writes letters to complain to people. And I really love this book. I cried like a baby. I cried in Atmosphere too, but this one especially, at the end of this book, I just like loved the fact that it's like parts of it are sad, but it's also very aspirational. Our main character is a lot older at the beginning of this book, and I think she's around 70. And then we read like 10 years of her life in these letters, and so many things happen to her, and her life changes, and like the way she sees the world changes. And it's just so amazing that like, because you feel like, at least I do, that society views elderly people as people with like, their life is done. They have nothing else to contribute to this world, and that's just how it is. Like, someone has to take care of them and things like that. But that's it's not true. And to see this side of like someone that's so much older and like still learning things and still growing and still experiencing things for the first time, it's just so beautiful, and it makes you like appreciate life a lot more, I feel like. But yeah, those are the books that I love the most. And then for the books that I liked the least, I guess we can talk about, I'll talk about two of them. We Used to Live Here by Marcus Clearwer. Oh, I just realized I wrote his name wrong. Marcus, not Morris. This is a horror novel that last year was like, everyone and their mother was like, this is amazing, it's so good, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, I'll pick it up. Horror, sign me up, right? The premise of this is super cool. It's like these two women are together and they buy a house, and one of them, I think, is home alone at night. And this family knocks on the door and is like, oh, can we come in? We used to live here. And she, obviously, as any good horror novel starts in movie, lets them in. And that's where the novel starts. But I didn't like this. I think there's parts of this that are really good, like where, the scares and things are like very creepy. But it just goes in a direction that I think did the book a disservice. And who am I to say what the author should do in his own book? But I just think that it's one of those books that don't explain anything, and the reader just has to be okay with that. And I'm not someone that's okay with that, and I think that was the biggest reason why I didn't like this. I don't like any form of media is complicated for the sake of being complicated, and then people that consume it are like, well, it was a masterpiece, like, and this and that and blah blah blah. No, it's not for me. And another point of this book is that there's Morse code in the book. Apparently in the audiobook, I thought they were just like being weird and like making some weird noises in the audiobook. It's Morse code, and I guess you can go and look up and see what the Morse code is. And no, I'm not doing it. I refuse to do it. So that was the reason why I didn't like that. And then there's a book I haven't talked to you guys about yet that I did read in April. And that was Reign of Shadows and Endings by Melissa K. Rorick. I got this at my local used bookstore. I think I talked to you guys about it in my book haul video. And it's like a romantasy. And I think it was originally self-published, and then it got, picked up or whatever, or I don't know. It was at my local used bookstore, okay? And I read it because there's like good reviews and whatnot, and it is terrible. I gave it 1.5 stars. This is like, here's the thing. I don't mind dark romance that the author redeems the male main character at some point. And my gripe with this book is that the things that the male main character was doing were irredeemable in my opinion, and I could not see how this main character would end up with this guy. After I finished this book, I'm like, there's no way, right? Because it's a series, so I'm like, there's no way. So I spoiled myself because I knew I wasn't going to read it. Don't think that I would have liked it if I kept going, so I'm glad I didn't, because this is a chunker. It's like 672 pages. So if I had read the rest of the series and that's how it ended, I would have been pissed. So I'm glad I DNF'd this. Well, I didn't DNF the book, I DNF'd the series, but that was why. I think what the male main character did in this book is irredeemable, and I just hated him with every fiber of my being, and I don't know how this main character didn't. So to finish up this video, I wanted to talk to you guys about sort of like what my plans for the future are, or like the rest of this year. I don't have any plans. No, I'm kidding. I intend to try and get through more of my physical TBR books. My problem that I'm having is that I am being really annoying, and nothing that I own is what I want to read. And I also have been a little bit in a reading slump, I think. And it's not that it's a reading slump. I just like, nothing sounds good. Is that terrible of me to say? Like, nothing that I'm picking up is like completely catching my interest. And yeah, but I do intend to keep making videos. That's something that I always intend to do, even though I slightly fall off the track. Oh god. Anyway, that is it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will talk to you guys on the next one. Goodbye.